Back to Bazzi Vert, because it's on everybody's mind, I think, occasionally. It took, what, 4 years or something like that?
7 years.
7 years?
Yeah, the raids were in December 2003. This is 2010 when it ended.
Right.
7 years, Fanny.
Wow, and so...
And it's still going on.
It's still going on, that's true. But the government did bring the end to the toxic scandal at some point, and the plea bargain was done and all of that. Now more comes out. Appalling evidence is coming out, as you know, as you've read and as you've studied.
Yeah.
Wiretaps.
I spent 2 days last week reading this much new material that was released. The core of the Crown's case, wiretaps, interviews with witnesses, police observations, everything was let out last week.
Yeah, and you know, gosh.
Sleazy, seedy, just horrible.
Well, it reads like a movie. It does, really. I mean, like code names and all of that.
It's Boardwalk Empire. It's
no
the
kidding.
Sopranos. At one point, they're arranging a date for somebody. You're like, you know, who's your daddy now?
So, and then we're paying for it, that too, and that's another issue another day we'll have to talk about. But how the deal was negotiated and why it didn't happen more quickly, who knows? What do you think?
I think that Bassi and Verk realized they were going to be convicted. They went and they copped a plea, and their lawyers were smart and went to the government and leveraged that plea into the payment of their legal fees.
But
I think it was almost extortion, right? What they said to the government, Fanny, was this: it's going to cost you maybe $12 million if you don't take this deal, if we continue the trial. Because the trial was going to go on for probably another year. There would have been an appeal. This was a way for the government to bail. And I think they're quite right. It would have cost us $12 million.
Sure, but when is justice done is the question. When is justice done?
Well, there should have been someone in charge of writing herd on their legal bills. The legal bills should never have got to this stage, but no one has taken responsibility for that. The government didn't have someone managing it. There was no proportionality going on here. The spending here is outrageous. In fact, I was told this week that this $6 million is about the amount of money that we've cut from the prosecutor's budget in the new financial statements.
As Michael Smith said in a column on the weekend, so pretty much they burn taxpayers to a crisp in the process, you know. But if indeed we need change, and I think we do, who should make the change? Who will make the change?
Well, we definitely need change. The Law Society is certainly grappling with the problem. The bar is grappling with the problem. The government is grappling with the problem. What we need them to do is come up with some solutions. Len Doust, the Vancouver lawyer who you know, has been traveling the province talking to people about the legal aid issues. He's going to be bringing out a report soon, and hopefully that report will address some of the issues about access to justice. The Law Society, the bar, and the government are waiting to see what happens there. The new rules have been put into effect that they have agreed on, but we still need more changes there. We need probably a unified family court system in this province, and we don't have it. And that's something the government and the judges really have to get their heads together on.
Okay, so the elephant in the room is?
Access to justice and legal fees.
Okay. Small claims court. What about that as an alternative to a few things?
Well, the problem there is what's in small claims, because everything goes up so very quickly once you start talking about the legal fees involved. You can have a dispute about $25,000 or less, but once you start talking about bringing what it's going to cost you to get a lawyer involved, that balloons. And we're seeing a lot of small-time cases show up in Supreme Court simply because the legal cost makes people go, I don't want to be in small claims, I'd rather be in Supreme.
And when you go to the mega cases like the Picton trial, or the Air India trial, my gosh, the money they cost and the time they take.
Mega cases is an issue that has to be tackled nationally, Fanny. That's something the Supreme Court of Canada's got to get involved in. That's something that's going to require changes to the Criminal Code of Canada. The federal government's got to get involved there. That's a sort of a whole layer of justice and judicial problems above and beyond what the ordinary folk are dealing with.
Well, you heard Bruce Philp talk about branding and the power of social media to change things. If we had tweeting in court,
Well,
I
we
bet
do.
we do. We probably
do.
have tweeting.
I'm tweeting all the time from court. You
Well,
should follow me.
so it's allowed. It's allowed to
Absolutely.
tweet in court, but
Yep.
you know, to use Facebook or whatever to say, why is this trial taking so long? What is going on? Is it procedural? Like, I still don't
Well,
get
you know,
what it is.
Steve Martin was called for jury duty over the Christmas holidays,
Mm-hmm.
and he was tweeting, and he was hilarious because, as he said, I think I see the guilty guy now. Ah, there he is. Yeah, he looks mean. He's evil. Yeah. Oops, that's the defense attorney. So it was fabulous. There's a place for social media in the courts. The British High Courts just issued a directive to the lower courts saying that unless there's a good reason for blocking it, people should be allowed to tweet or use social media in the courtrooms. The issue is you don't want jurors making up their minds or going on the internet to look at the crime scene via Google Maps or using, you know,
Right.
Wikipedia to figure out what that Latin phrase the
Sure, I
lawyer
know.
used meant.
Exactly, whole new world, right?
Absolutely.
What's your next column about? Is it put to bed yet, as they say in the news biz?
Oh, no. I got to talk to the coroner. I got to talk to the police. It's about a poor story about a young man who drowned with 13 law enforcement officials around him.
No. When is that
Yeah.
out? When's the deadline?
Sometime this week, if
Sometime
the
this
lawyers
week.
say okay, the lawyers that my company will have to pay for, unfortunately.
Oh, that's too. Okay.
Oh, is it the
well,
lawyer?
at a corporate level, oftentimes it works out okay. The corporate people seem to be taken care of.
They are.
Thank you. Ian Mulgrew, columnist, Vancouver Sun.